evening, everyone. Welcome along to your Monday Night Rangers Rabble Women's Pod. My name's Brian, and I'm joined tonight by a good gang of folk. Wilf, how are we?
Yeah, I'm okay, Brian. Decent footballing weekend for a change. I actually managed to get to a women's game for the first time since the winter break, so because obviously there's no fixture clash with no midweek game for the first team, the men's first team this week. So yeah, all good. I'd like to put on official record my thanks to the gentleman in the box below me for making sure I got from the second city through to the outskirts of Glasgow to attend the game. So, and a Singing the Blue says we are top of the league, but we'll get on to that.
Absolutely. Alan, how are we?
I'm good, thanks, Brian. As well says, it's been quite a good football weekend, so good company, decent results, so happy with that. How are you doing yourself?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. Not bad at all. Demi, how are we?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks.
Not a double dunter for you at the weekend.
No, I was working yesterday, unfortunately.
Oh, never mind. But as the pod says, back to where we belong. We're back at the top of the league after Rangers, Partick Thistle 0, Rangers 6. Always nice to be top of the league, Wolf, isn't it? Regardless if it's goal difference or 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of weeks ago we were 5 points behind. That's the nature of this league. I mean, we were doing well early in the season. A couple of bad results just before Christmas. Consecutive 3-0 defeats. We ended up, not top of the league, and then the game of Friday night went the way best way for us. But it was a draw between City and another mob. It meant that not only did we go top of the league, Hibs could go level on points. I mean, there's four teams sitting on the same points. But one game before the split. Yeah. When as Alan said to me yesterday, there's very little chance that anybody is going to get full points after the split, so it's going to be a very exciting finish to the season.
Yeah, Alan, I mean, Wolf sort of tees it up nicely, doesn't he? Everybody's on the same points. A game before the split. There's a very, very high sort of chance that nobody's going to take maximum points out of the post-split games, so it sets the league up nicely, doesn't it?
Oh, I mean, it's been entertaining for a neutral the last couple of years. It's meant to last game of the season, 2 years running, and we've not come out on top of that. And it could very well go all the way this season. To be 21 games into the season and 4 teams joint top of the league is phenomenal. And Hearts are only 5 or 6 behind that. So the jump in levels of Hearts and Hibs particularly this season has been absolutely brilliant for the league. But from our point of view, the competition, means if you're going to win this league, we're going to have to raise our levels and play some really good stuff and really impress. And it'll be brilliant to be a part of it and be at the sideline watching.
Absolutely. As Alan and Wolf have said, Demi, it's looking exciting. Of course, the last couple of leagues have went down to the last game of the season. Do you envisage a similar scenario?
Yeah, hopefully it has a better ending for us this time. We've got better goal difference than we've had in previous years. So, yeah, and the league being the way it is now with 4 teams joint top can only be a good thing. I mean, I've seen videos on social media from fans who watch the WSL saying, start tuning into the Scottish League, like this is getting really interesting. So it's good to see that there's people actively trying to get more people to come and watch the title race in Scotland.
Absolutely. And I mean, I believe there was 900 odd at the game on the Friday night, Wolf. I don't know what the attendance was yesterday, but there is more eyes getting on the women's game, isn't there? There is more people going to the games.
Yeah, 983, I believe, was the official attendance at the City right. Celtic game on Friday. Only know that because Demi sent the figure to me earlier because she said I believe it was just under 1,000. Mm-hmm. We were having a wee chat about it yesterday at Petershill because Alan said he thought it was about 1,000. So it was there or thereabouts. I don't know what the crowd was yesterday at Petershill. I don't think they announced it, but it certainly looked quite healthy from where we were when we were at the back of the stand. It looked fairly healthy. A lot of people standing at the side, which is unusual. At Petershill for festival games with Partick Thistle. So the fact that it's exciting, if people that are football, just even casual football fans can't get excited about a league race that's going the way this is going, there's really no hope for them. I mean, again, they could do with trying to avoid the fixture clashes, but again, I don't want to go doing that well Trodden Road again. And the other one they keep doing is moving kickoff times late. You know, they'll tell you kind of 5 days before, well, that was being selected for the TV and it moves. They're getting better at that, I have to say. So people know what they're doing, they can make arrangements. It's great to see the amount of kids going to these games. I don't know, I didn't see the game on Friday because I just can't watch that other lot. But I'd imagine there'd been a lot of kids there. There was loads and loads of kids kicking about Petershill yesterday, which probably financially for the clubs and gate the seats isn't very good because they won't get obviously a lot of ticket prices through the door, but they'll still make money off of concession still because you get a kid there, they're always somebody eats something to drink, all that stuff. So the actual average spend per head is probably about the same if that's the way they're looking at it. But that's the lifeblood. That's the lifeblood of the sport, you know. And I mean, if you've never been to a women's game before, as we always say, it's completely different. I mean, even I don't swear at them. That's how different it is. You know what I mean? Just because I don't want people judging me. But it's a lot more family oriented, which I know Alan and Demi will back me up on that.
Absolutely. And Paul, I didn't notice this when I was watching the game on Friday night. The Celtic player was in the city inside the city half at kickoff 20 yards. I didn't see that. I must have missed that.
I've not seen any of the game from Friday night, but I've had a lot of people tell me about that when kickoff happened. You know, one of their attackers was close to the city box and it ended up scoring about 20 seconds into the game. So, you know, ridiculous that officials have not spotted that, but not in the least bit surprising me, the Scottish officials. But as Will says, you know, I've been told it was just under 1,000 on Friday night, and I was certainly in the high hundreds yesterday. It was as busy as I've seen a game against Partick for us at Petershill. So really good. And it wasn't just Rangers fans. There was a bigger number of Partick Thistle fans here than I've seen before. So, you know, it's good that the attendances are growing. It's good that the eyes are getting on the game, as Demi's saying, you know, and it'll only help Scottish football improve.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we'll go into the game now, and the lineup was Essendon goals with Eddie Rafferty was the captain and Middag at the defence. We had Mia McCauley, Jodie McCleary, Kirsty McLean and Brogan Hay in the midfield with Rio Hardy, Katie Wilkinson and Kirsty Howitt in attack. A couple of changes, Demi. You know, Kirsty McLean coming in for her first start for a while after being out injured, and Laura Rafferty coming into the defence.
Yeah, it's always good to see Annie back playing football. Hopefully she can get a longer run in the team and hopefully stay fit. I was a bit shocked when the team came out to see that Nick and Kathy were both on the bench. I thought that might have come back to bite us a bit in the first half and she'd have to make some changes at halftime, but it didn't. So what do I know?
Absolutely. And of course, the game started. I'll stay with you, Debbie. You know, the game started, and obviously, you know, very early on in the game, Vic Essing had to come into action very early and made a great save at the start of the game.
Yeah, it was a good ball, to be fair, from Thistle to their striker. It was a very good ball, and she did well to control it. It was a good shot, but I also thought Vic was a very good save. Very, very good save.
Absolutely. And yeah, as the guys are saying, Wolf, it was an important save because going 1-0 down and early in a game like that just piles the pressure on, doesn't it? But Vic made a good save.
Yeah, she did him as a comment there. So it was a great through ball with us all. I mean, the attacker did everything right. You know, she took her time. She was composed. It was a terrific save, and we've been very critical of all the goalkeepers in the past. So I mean, it certainly kept us in the game at the start. Because as you say, you don't want. I mean, early in the game, so there's still plenty of time to turn around if it does go in. But we saw last season we drew 0-0 with Partick Thistle in the reverse fixture last season, and we had a decent amount of chances. They just defended really well. So had they scored that and decided they were just sitting back, we could have been right behind the 8 ball.
Absolutely. And just on the lineup, going back to the lineup, Alan, I noticed with 2 goalkeepers on the bench, I was a bit bemused at that one.
Yeah, I wasn't too surprised because the under-17s have been away on international duty, so one or two of the young players who might have made up some numbers on the bench, you know, have been away and just not quite ready to play. And it helps Thelma get more involved in the squad. You know, she's been involved in all the pre-match prep, you know, since she's joined. And you know, we'd spoken to Joe last week. You know, she's not played since the end of October, start of November.
Okay.
And also, essentially, she's gone through a sort of condensed pre-season before we'll see her play. But, you know, Vic's been on absolutely terrific form, probably best form she's been on in her time at Rangers. You know, in the last few weeks, she's been very commanding. She's come up big saves when needed. And, you know, I think she's deservedly holding on to the gloves right now.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point to make. And Demi, just before the half-hour mark, Rangers took the lead. Mia McCauley and Brogan Hay heavily involved. I think Mia was very lively in that first half. She was in amongst everything. Really good move, actually. Kirsty Howitt I can't remember who she laid it off to, and then I think it was Innie, and then Innie laid it off to Mia, and Mia had the simplest task of putting in the goal.
Yeah, I think she did well because she didn't take it off the ground. She just kind of slid it along the pitch into the bottom corner. So, yeah, I think she did well. Innie did really well to sort of get it to Mia in the right position. So yeah, it was a good build-up play and a really good goal as well.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, Wolf Rio Hardy just before halftime gave us that 2-0 comfy lead. Rio just doing what Rio does, isn't she?
Yeah, going back to that first goal, it was a really, really good goal. If you haven't seen it, folks, you know, highlights are out there. Started off on the left wing with Brogan Hay. Brogan sticks it across. Kirsty Howitt, as Demi says, you know, Kirsty finds Innie, who's brilliant ball into me. Innie's really good at that. I mean, we missed that when she's not been in the team. And as you said, Brian, just before half time, Wilco puts the ball into Rio, who has an audacious, I think was the word they used at the time, back heel from about 2 or 3 yards out. There was a few murmurs around about us, you know, did Rio actually touch it? Did they just kind of slide in? But it was a great flick with the back heel. But not long before that, Mia had a fantastic run. She put Wilco through, and Wilco standing in front of the goal with a goal gaping, 5 yards out, and slid it by the post.
Yeah.
And it was one of them. Katie Wilkinson doesn't miss those, but you know she missed it. It was one of them. You check your watch and write the time down because it's not something you see very often. It was an absolute sitter. You know what I mean? Sorry if you're watching Wilco, but that was an absolute sitter. But no, great ball in from her. She made it nice for a great ball in from her for Rio with an audacious back heel, flicking it past the keeper, and that was 2-0.
I think she was actually taking a shot as opposed to sort of like passing it to Wilco. No, not to Wilco, to Rio, sorry. I do think she was actually taking a shot that was going off target, and I think that's why Rio stuck her foot out at it, because when you watch it, the ball was kind of drifting away from goal. But obviously Rio was there to put it home. But I do think that Wilco was taking a shot there as opposed to passing the ball.
We'll take Demi's word for that because she's lethal from that sort of distance as well. So,
thanks, Ian. Very nice of you. No wonder Demi's smashing the cans of Monster doing a pod with this motley crew. Thanks very much.
Demi drinks Monster like I drink coffee, and I drink an awful lot of coffee.
Well, I did say earlier in the day in the afternoon pod.
Yeah, I did know that. Yeah.
Costa's best customer.
No, I wouldn't quite say that, but I do drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Alan, just before a half time again, Rio, a short corner cross come in. I believe it was Kirsty Howitt, the near post, sort of flicks it, sort of helps it on, and Rio heads it towards goal. I think it was the defender that came off that put it in the goal. It wasn't the goalie. Looked like a goal, but it was the defender.
I believe it's the 8th own goal that we've benefited from this season, you know, which is a crazy start, but we're putting a lot of dangerous balls into the box. We're putting a lot of pressure on when the ball does come in and making sure it stays alive. And, you know, the work Katie Wilkinson had done for Rio's goal just before this, you know, was brilliant down the channel of the box. And, you know, as well says, it was audacious, the wee back heel flick of Rio's. But the defender that put the ball past the keeper, really, all she could do was try and get something on the ball and hope to divert it away, and just couldn't get enough on. So getting 2 goals real quickly just before half time was massive, because these games can be really tough at Petershill against Partick. So to then score a second and a third just before half time really killed the game and allowed us to play with a bit of freedom in the second half.
Yeah, Definitely. Of course, that was half-time. Rangers 3-0 up at half-time in a comfortable position. Surprisingly, Demi, no half-time subs. Normally the manager makes at least one, but not this game. Left the subs on, till later on.
Yeah, no, I mean, from what I've seen I've seen the whole second half. I've only seen highlights of the first half. Like I said, when I seen the lineup, I thought she was going to have to make a few subs at half-time, but worked well. You're 3 up. You're comfortable. I mean, I don't think she had any particular reason to make subs at half-time, so I can't say I was too shocked, to be honest.
No, not at all. Not at all. And of course, Wolf, a few chances in the second half. I believe that Katie Wilkins had a header that was a good save from the goalkeeper, but it wasn't until Rafferty went off 58, Jodie McCleary went off in the 59, and so did Kirsty McLean. So it was a triple sub that came on. On came Chelsea Cornett, Catherine Hill, and Olivia McLaughlin. So it was just probably a freshen up of the positions, was it?
Yeah, just freshen up the middle of the park. Give Kathy some. I think, given the time of the substitution, I think it was possibly planned that Kathy got half an hour. Because I'm always a bit suspicious when substitutions are made round about the hour mark. That usually indicates that was already planned to take place, irrespective of really what was happening. And obviously, given that we were quite comfortable in the game, I think it would be no reason to change that. And as Paul was asking, is Chelsea injured? She did come off the bench yesterday, as Brian says. She came on after 59 minutes, and she did really well when she came on. To be perfectly honest, it just freshes up. It gives them game time. Well, let's be honest, Brian, 3-0. Although it's, as Alan says, it's a tough place to go. The game's done.
Yeah,
at 3-0, the game's done. And okay, we're always chasing goals because we don't want to be in the position we were in last year where goal difference costs us. Yeah. Goal difference is quite healthy. And let's be honest, we're bringing on attacking players. I mean, Kathy Hill loves a header from a corner, and we'll get on to that in a minute. Liv loves going forward. Chelsea likes her to get the goal. And then after that, Lizzie and Camille come on. Camille scoring goals for fun, which we never expected when we signed her. And Lizzie's ammunition, as we say every week, her stats are off the charts. So you're bringing on players who, when you're 3-0 up, they're only going to add to the firepower you've got in the park. So yeah, the substitutions were, as I say, I think the Cathy one was probably planned. The rest of them, I think, is just. I mean, any first game back for a few months, that was possibly a planned substitution as well. Just give her an hour, or probably give her maximum an hour. See how long she'll last, but she lasted there when they took her off. And Jodie deserved the rest. She did a decent first hour. She deserved the rest as well. So no problem with the substitutions. I was like them. I was a bit surprised there wasn't a change at half time, just because Joe normally makes a change at half time, but there was no reason to. So yeah, I think she used the subs well for a change.
Very much so. Very much so. And then of course, Kath Hill, the aforementioned Kath Hill, Alan scored in the 83rd minute. Probably took a bit longer to get the fourth than probably folk would like, but bit of a funny header, wasn't it? It seemed to come off the back of her head.
Yeah, I think it's just a case of being in the right position and making sure you get something on the ball and keeping it alive. And, it's been enough to beat the goalkeeper, who typically for a goalkeeper playing against Rangers had an excellent game. Jenka really kept the score down in Partick's favour. But going back to the substitutions, me and Ralph had been speaking about it in the car on the way from Tynecastle to the game. When the team came out, we just looked at the bench, and that's exciting to see just how strong that bench is. You look at the players who came off the bench, and you look at the players who are sitting on the bench and didn't come on and didn't get involved. So really good times for the squad right now. A really good place, and making sure we're a threat from corners is definitely not necessarily the Rangers that we're used to, but the girls are far better at it than maybe the men are.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. The fifth goal, Demi, Kirsty Howitt on the score sheet. A good bursting move from Olivia McLaughlin in the midfield. Gives it to Rio Hardy, who spots the run from Kirsty, who rounds the goalkeeper. I thought she was at the time going a bit wide, and I thought she was a bit late, but she steadied herself and lifted it over the defender. So it was a really nice finish.
Yeah, I think she did well the way she was sort of positioning herself when she was running past the keeper. She kind of just knocked it round her and took the shot, and it kind of went sort of between the defender and the post. So whether she meant it or not, I think she done really well the way that she just managed to glide the ball between the two. So yeah, it was really good run, really good finish.
Absolutely. And Wolf, the last goal, Camille Lefay, again, a long ball from Cathy Hill. I believe it was Kirsty Howitt that helped it on. Mia still making lamb-busting runs at that time of the day, 92nd minute, still bursting to get forward, a good cross in, and Camille Lefay just tucked it away at the near post.
Yeah, that was, that's always a perfect summation of what happened. The ball from Cathy, it was a great cross ball. I think it was Leah Eddy that played it across the park. I'm not quite sure. Played it across the Cathy. Great cross peel past the Cathy, which we're always calling out for. All Rangers seems to do, and they tend to pass it through 3 or 4 players rather than just put it straight across to Cathy, who didn't just melt it up the park. You know what I mean? She actually picked out Kirsty, who, as you say, knocked it on. Mia still running about. She must run Duracell batteries because she was running up and down that line in the first minute and then the 92nd minute. Just incredible. I know international break, we say leave it all out there, but she's away with Scotland, her first full call up, so she'll be wanting to play, and she's running about like a mad thing in the 92nd minute, and she sticks the ball across. And as I said when we were talking about the substitutes, Camille, who when we signed her, none of us thought she'd be a prolific goal scorer. That's something like her 7th or 8th goal of the season, I think.
Yeah.
She's just, and it's a great finish. And she clearly loves it. Camille only signed a year's contract, but she clearly loves it just by her reaction to the goal and her teammates' reaction to her scoring. It's an absolute joy to see, and it's a joy to see them playing with a smile on their face.
Yeah.
Because before the winter break, when they lost those 2 games, we're saying to Alan and Karen and Laura at the games, like, we probably need a break from each other here.
Yeah.
They're all come back with a smile on their face, and they're playing some absolutely wonderful football.
It's Alan. I said that just before we went live, didn't we? I says it's nice to see the girls smiling when they're playing because every goal, they were all going to each other like they always usually do, but they seemed to be a lot more smiles on the pitch. They looked as though they were playing with a bit of freedom.
Definitely, I think they're playing with confidence. I think they've enjoyed playing since they came back after the Christmas break. I think they badly needed it. And it was really good to see. One thing I noticed right from the first minute yesterday was there was a bit more bite and a bit more aggression to the team. I think there was just a wee bit of bad blood simmering over after last season when we drew there at Partick, and it definitely seemed just that wee bit extra edge, especially in some players that we usually see it from, but it was from everybody, and I think that benefited our game. I think when we play with that edge, that extra wee bit of intensity, I think we actually do much better.
Sorry, Brian. Alan, am I right in saying that Camille's not actually on loan? She is actually. Sorry, that's a wrong comment. She is actually ours. I don't think she's on loan. I think she is actually ours, which is the 1-year contract.
A 1-year contract. She's definitely our player, and she's not on loan. I think Charlie was the only one that we brought in loan this season.
That's what I thought. Just to clear that up, JD. But there's probably a lot of people think she's on loan because she came in quick, a bit under the radar. But
yeah, Brian, just going back to what you and Alan were just saying there about the aggression from the players on the park. When I was watching the second half, I noticed Joe was getting quite aggressive with the players as well. At one point, I think we were 4-0 up, and Rio and Mia had kind of let the ball go past them when Partick had a throw, and you could hear her she screamed at Rio and went, "That's not good enough." And then she called Mia over and was like that was you as well. You've let that happen. So even at 4 up, Joe was still not happy about some of the things. So she was pushing them to keep going even at 4-0. So that was good to see.
Yeah, I think that is a sign of a good manager when she's demanding even at 4-0 that standards don't slip. And I think that's certainly something we could see in the men's side. I'm afraid if Joe was managing the men's team, we might see a bit more aggression, a bit more vocalness. But enough of that. We're here to be positive about the women's team, and of course that put Rangers back to the top of the league. There's 4 teams on 51 points. Rangers are top be a plus 94 goal difference. Glasgow City are in second place with a 76 goal difference. Celtic are third on 68 goal difference. Hibs are fourth on 56 goal difference, with Hearts on 45 points, 59 goal difference. As you said at the start of the show, Wolf, that's setting up for a cracking sort of end before. Well, there's one game before a split, but it's certainly looking like a great sort of split this season, isn't it?
Well, the split fixtures are going to be blockbuster. I mean, we could be getting into the split after the final regular season fixtures, if you like, in a couple of weeks. Which, as I said before we went live, I think they've missed a trick having an international break, then the final round of fixtures, then the split fixtures. And probably, okay, they can't dictate when an international break is, but they could possibly squeeze the fixtures in somewhere so that we're now looking at the split fixtures next up. But that's not the way it is. We just need to get on with it. We could be getting into the split with 3 teams on level on points, because I know Demi pointed out to me earlier that Hibs are playing Celtic. Is that right, Demi?
Yeah.
Next round of fixtures. So something's got to give there. So either one of them is going to drop points, or both of them is going to drop points. Ideally, both of them drop points. Glasgow City, they're playing Motherwell. They'll probably win that. We've got Hearts with the best will in the world. We should be winning that. So it could be us and City and one of the other two level on points, get into the split with the other one just behind. Then obviously Hearts just behind that. It's going to be, and then Motherwell making up the numbers, if you don't mind the expression. However, Motherwell are dangerous. You know what I mean? It's particularly at K Park, so there's not going to be any easy games, which makes for a very exciting finish to the season. And I don't care how exciting it is, as long as we win the bloody thing.
Well, I mean, we've not even gone into the split yet, and the last round of actual fixtures is just it's top 6, bottom 6, and the fixtures have turned out to be that way. So it's effectively we've got an extra game playing like top 6 because everyone's playing top 6. So
yeah, that's a great point, Alan. I've just looked at the fixtures.
I didn't even realise that.
As Demi's just pointed that out, Glasgow City are playing Motherwell. Rangers are playing Hearts, and of course Hibs are playing Celtic. So there's your top 6. So effectively, we've got, what is it? I can't remember how many games are left.
11.
10
plus the one before the
one. So we've effectively got an extra game in the top 6, haven't we?
Well, listen, it's 11 cup finals, and we have to be bang up for them because they're going to be a massive challenge. Well, I've said before, and I'll say again, I don't think any team is winning 10 games out of 10 post-split in the top 6. I think Partick are more capable of winning 10 out of 10 in the bottom 6, but I don't think MD will do it in the top 6. And we're certainly playing much better right now, but our record against the top 5 this season has to improve, because if it doesn't improve, we won't win the league. We've played 4 of the top, played 3 of the top 5 so far twice, and we've not got maximum points off any. We've beaten Hearts in the one time we played them, so we can beat them again. Then 6 points out of 6 against Hearts, but our record against Hibs, Celtic, and City need to improve if we want to win the league. But we're in a really good place right now. We fought our way back and took advantage of other teams dropping points, and we got ourselves back to the top, albeit in goal difference. So bringing Laura Berry back will hurt Motherwell, but it might just give us something else, just another option.
Certainly will. It certainly will. Of course, Wolf, as we were speaking about, before we come on, the way the Rangers are playing now, as Alan's mentioned, the depth or I can't remember who mentioned it, the depth on the bench now, competition for places, everybody's going to be itching to get in that sort of starting lineup going into the split, so even from a Rangers point of view, this is an exciting sort of period of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, the depth of the squad we've got, and I can say this because Carl's not here to shout at me, is one of the reasons I'm a wee bit mystified as to why we actually brought Laura Berry back. Because she'll score goals, but we're scoring goals from all over the park, and keeping Laura at Motherwell, as Paul says, Motherwell will miss her goals, but she couldn't score them against us. But if she was at Motherwell, she could score them against everybody else, which could have helped us. You know what I mean? But hopefully that doesn't come back. But Ailey Austin's gone there now, I think. and right in saying she scored yesterday. So hopefully she won't obviously take up the mantle because she's a completely different player to Laura. Hopefully she can help Motherwell against the other sides, because that's a fairly major consideration. You know, Laura was scoring a lot of Motherwell's goals, and the rest of the top six wouldn't look forward to playing against her. I just wonder how much game time she's going to get with us. You know what I mean? And I know having Laura back is great. It's belt and braces if any of our strikers get injured, but it might be worth the gamble to leave it at Motherwell just to to maybe cause problems to Celtic and City and Hibs. But I don't. I'll probably be proved wrong, and that's why I'm not a manager. I'm just sitting here on a podcast.
And that's why you're saying it when Carr's not here.
Wow. You think I'm stupid?
I mean, it's a good point, Demi. I mean, when you think about it, Laura Berry was scoring goals from Motherwell. She was doing really well. Player of the month at least once. A couple of hat tricks thrown in there. She's obviously not going to get the minutes that she would have at Motherwell. Do you think it would be more prudent to leave her at Motherwell and just let her develop this season?
I mean, you've got to look, it's probably a long-term plan for Jo. Jo wants to maybe involved a bit next season. So, bring her back, get her used to being with the players. In terms of this season, all the strikers Rio's coming on to a bit of form, scoring goals now. Wilco scored something like 30 goals in the league. So she's not going to be there for immediate starts, but good to come off the bench. But I do think it's maybe for Jo's long-term plan and get her used to the players and not just bringing her back in the summer and being by the way, you're going to start playing games now. So yeah, I do think it's more long-term than it is short-term. So in terms of that, she could have stayed at Motherwell to the end of the season, but I reckon she's just trying to get her familiar with all these players before she starts playing more minutes next season.
Yellow card, Brian.
Yellow card. I was coughing and sneezing there, so I thought I'd better go on mute, but forgot to take it back off. So I've got a booking myself there. Terrible. Anyway, as JD saying here, I wonder if Berry's recall is a sign of the departures at the end of the season and using this time to bed her in longer before the next season begins. There's also that sort of aspect you take into it. Is the manager got something in mind for Laura next season? Does the manager envisage some departures, so she's wanting Laura in to get her primed for next season? Not obviously not going to be important this season because she will be, but even more important next season.
Oh, very possibly. And I know Jo spoke last season about preferring to be open and honest with players and do our business and do dealings early in terms of contract renewals, who's staying, who's going. Jo spoke about being eager to do that as a manager after coming from being a player. So I'd imagine she'll take the same approach this year and want to make sure players know where they stand and know where they're going to be going elsewhere or where they're going to be settled and staying here. I think it was Paul asking, they've just put it up there, asking if Raf will stay. I certainly hope she does. She's a very good player. She's an international captain and she clearly seems to love it here. So I do think there'll be a number of changes in this squad. Not by any sort of knowledge I have, but just the nature of women's football, you do tend to see departures, and there are obviously players in our squad that quite honestly are better than playing in Scotland, and they will move on, whether it's this summer or another time. But I just want to make sure and the players ensure that anybody that leaves with a pocket full of medals.
Correct, absolutely. A question from Neil Anderson. I know the top of the SPFL is tight. I know we had some poor results before Christmas, but I strongly believe we have the form and firepower to crack on after the league split and win the league. I mean, Demi, as Alan said, I think all these have said, the bench yesterday was quite, very stacked. Wasn't short of experience on that bench. Do you think that's the sort of thing that will make the difference going into that split?
Yeah, I mean, you got to look, if you're a Partick Thistle player, you're 3-0 down or 3-0 down as it was, and we're bringing Liv McLaughlin and Chelsea Cornet off the bench. And in that attacking sense, obviously Kathy as well, but she's obviously a defender. So you've just got to look at that. I mean, the bench is just as strong as almost your starting 11, because we've got, as we've discussed before, there's not one strongest starting 11. So, yeah, I think that's just what's going to push us on and hopefully enough to win the league. And I mean, going back to the form before Christmas, and I've said this before, everyone goes through a bit of a bad form. Celtic had it at the start of the season. We had it just before Christmas. It hasn't quite hit City yet, but I still believe it is going to hit them, and they are going to pick up a couple of short results in the split. So it happens to the best teams in football. So, yeah.
If it can happen to Pep's Man City, it can happen to anybody. So,
Wow.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Did any of you have the fear that it maybe could be one of those days before we scored? Was any of you worried, before, say the 25-minute mark we hadn't scored? Was any of you thinking this is getting a bit nervous?
Not really, because I didn't think. Sorry, Alan. I didn't think so because we were making chances, and Thistle had one or two chances, but it would I thought definitely had that early chance we discussed from Thistle going in. If Vic hadn't pulled that save out, but we were needing once we scored, we knew would probably go on and win the game quite comfortably. Or I certainly did, but I wasn't concerned. Had it gone on much longer without a score, I've been starting to get a bit worried, I think.
Alan, were you at all worried, or was it just a case of?
Not really, because I remember back to the games before Christmas against City and Hibs, and we looked poor pretty much from first whistle in those games, but I thought we started yesterday absolutely brilliant. I thought the intensity we showed from the start of the game, I thought the attitude of the players, the way they were snapping in to challenges, the way they were wanting to take players on, I thought it's just a matter of time. Obviously, it went to a spell in the first half where it did get a wee bit end-to-end. Thistle started coming into it more. They had the chances, and Vic had one or two big saves to make at 0-0, but I thought it was always coming. And as I said earlier, it completely took the pressure off with the two late goals in the first half.
Absolutely. Were you at all worried, Demi, or were you quite confident?
No, I mean, I think I said on last week's pod that Thistle, I think I said that it was going to be harder for us to score, and they would hold us out for as long as possible. But once we scored, we'd be comfortable and we would score a few. So yeah, can't say I was too worried, because I did think that Thistle were going to try and hold us off for as long as they could, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
Listen, I can understand why JD was being a panic merchant, because we've seen the movie so many times before. But yesterday, thankfully, it went the way that we want it to go more often.
Yeah, definitely. And lastly, did you guys watch the Vocal documentary yet? Looking forward to the second part coming out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, a really good documentary. I briefly spoke to Katie and said, that I really enjoyed it, and she was laughing and saying, "No, you need to wait and make sure that you watch the second part that's coming out, because it left it in a wee bit of a cliffhanger." So, it's brilliant that the club are doing that. Everybody at the games will see they get an opportunity to talk to players and you get to know more about them. But some of the work that the club media do and some of these video packages are excellent. And as much as we talk about what's wrong at the club, and the things the club are not doing well, some of the stuff they put out, is absolute class content, and it'd be great to see more of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, my only complaint about that documentary. Sorry, I thought Demi was going to come in there.
I'll come in after you. Mine's is something else.
It's a fantastic documentary, and I can't wait for the second part, which I believe is out this Wednesday. It's just it finished very abruptly. I don't think it was edited properly. It just all of a sudden stopped, and I kind of checked. There's something wrong with I think I was watching it on my phone. Says there's something wrong because this is just kind of mid item. It just stopped. I just don't think they edited the end of it properly, but that's probably just me being a wee bit too picky. But the actual documentary, the content of it is brilliant. It's really good. And the encouraging thing is it's not behind a paywall. It's just free. You don't have to, you don't have to be a Rangers TV. I mean, if they did something like that with one of the men's players, right, almost guaranteed they'd put it. They'd give a wee teasing minute and a half and say log into your Rangers TV account to watch the rest of it. You know what I mean? Which they'll probably get. There'll be enough interest in it in the guys in the men's team for them to do that. But if you're wanting to get more people invested in the women's side, which we all are, which is why we're here,
Yes.
then the fact that anybody can watch it is brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brian, as I was going
No.
to say, it's totally irrelevant to that, but just wanted to mention before we go. It was good to see Mia so rightly rewarded with BBC Alba's Man of the Match, or Player of the Match yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've seen the tweet that the Scottish national team put on X yesterday. No, this morning, sorry, I thought that was good. It was a video of Mia's goal, and it was like Sunday scoring, and it was like Monday after her first senior camp. So I thought that was quite nice that she got the credit for BBC Alba. I mean, the whole time they were just speaking about how well she played. And then that the Scottish national team sort of gave her very own tweet. So I thought that was very good to see.
Absolutely. Yeah. As I said earlier, I thought Mia was busy and throughout the game, industrious, got the opener, to help my hand in the last goal. So no, I totally agree. I think she played really well. The only one I would say that would rival her for man of the match or player of the match would have been Rio, because her 2 goals and her assists. So no, but I firmly believe that Mia had a fantastic game, and it's great, as you say, great to see that the national team are rewarding her now with her good play. Alan, is there any update on Nick Dock?
I think Nick Dock's fine. She was obviously on the bench after missing out totally last week, but Nick's just been ill, so I think it's took a wee bit out of for a couple of weeks, and she'll be absolutely fine. She's not in the Scotland squad this time, so she's got a chance to have a wee bit of a rest, and I'd expect her back in the team against Hearts. I know Paul had asked about Chelsea as well. She'd missed last week, just a knock in training, so I think it was just a case of being careful with her, making sure it didn't get any worse. But I spoke to Chelsea last week, and she's confident she'll be fine for this weekend, and saw no ill effects when she did come on for half an hour. And
I suppose the international break for them guys just came at a decent time, because it'll give Chelsea and Nick that extra time just to get back to sort of a bit of full fitness. And a lot of people in the comments have been worried about Nick because she's been posted missing for a wee while. And I think everybody was feeding the worst. But yeah, I think when a flu or something like that comes at you, depending on how bad it is, it can take a lot out of you. It can really drain you, and takes you a good wee while to get your strength back up. So I think it's the best thing is just to leave her till the international break and get her back fully shooting, get her shooting boots back on for the last game before the split. But that'll do us tonight, folks. Obviously, it's an international break now, so the women's pod will be having a short interlude just before the last game of the split. Wolf's smiling there. What you smiling at?
Am I getting a Monday night off next week? Oh, happy days. Happy days.
Yes. You're getting a what would I call it? An industrial day off. You're getting a works day off from us. So
Debbie, don't tell Carol. I'll give you an excuse for us tied up here for another next Monday.
You can do a pod on Scottish game on Friday night. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah,
I wouldn't have seen it, so there's no point.
No. But it is the international break, and we're having a wee break from the women's pod. But we'll be back on the Monday after I believe it's the 2nd of March, Alan, is it? The Rangers are playing Hearts?
Yeah, 2nd of March we play Hearts at Broadwood, and then the week after we've got the quarter-final of Scottish Cup against Spartans.
Yes, so there we go, folks. So we'll be back on the 3rd of March with the women's pod on the Monday evening. My thanks to Wolf, Alan and Demi. Wolf, thank you very much.
No problem at all. JD, I don't think there's enough content in that to discuss it. Nice idea, though. But yeah, thanks very much, Brian.
Absolutely. Alan, thanks for joining us.
No, thanks to you, and thanks to everybody that joins in the comments. It always adds a wee bit to the pod that people get involved. So, thanks to everybody in the comments.
Absolutely. And Demi, thank you very much.
No, thank you. And thank you for everyone watching, commenting. Paul's had a bit of a good idea for next week, but again, not sure it would last an entire pod.
Yes, I know. And no, folks, that isn't Alan having a green room wall. That is his actual wall. That's not a background. That's his actual wall. So. But thanks very much, everybody, for joining us. We shall see you after the break.